In this video, I want to talk about the site health of your WordPress site. As you know, the site health is critical to having a WordPress site that is not hacked or easily taken over by hackers. So I'm going to cover that page and some of the things that I'm seeing in my particular WordPress site. So here we go. All right, so you'll need to log into your WordPress site to get started and go into the dashboard. And if you go to the site health status, you have a widget on the dashboard. If you don't have a widget on the dashboard, you can go on the left nav and to tools and site health, and it'll take you to the same place. And so as you see, it says I have 9 items on the site health screen that need to be looked into and that the site health needs to be improved. Now, some of these errors are because I am running in my development environment, and my development environment is not exactly set up like how my production is. So some of this will probably just go away once I migrate it to production. So for instance, the REST API error, I'm assuming it's attempting to communicate with other things, and because this development server sitting behind a firewall is probably not able to get that response back like it's expecting. So it's complaining about that. Like I say, if it does happen in production, I'll look into it further, but right now I'm not too concerned about it. And the same thing with background updates. You may have seen in a previous video in this particular series where I've been doing the plugin and theme installs using the WordPress command line interface instead of using the website. And the reason being is because the way my development server is set up, it doesn't allow those to be downloaded. And so I'm having to do it by an alternate means, which is using the command line interface. And that's why it's prompting in particular here for saying that my FTP credentials are needed. And I chose not to give it my FTP credentials because those are not necessarily needed. I know how to do it a different way. Also, let's see, my site could not complete a loopback request. So basically, it's similar to like a cron job where it periodically pings itself to run an execution task. Again, not necessary in my development environment, so I'm not too concerned with that. So the next one, the recommended improvement. So removing inactive plugins. So I will do this particular step. And the reason why this is a major issue is because if you have plugins that you're not actively using, you're less likely to update those plugins. And as a result, if those plugins have a vulnerability that is discovered, then that leaves your site comparable to hackers to be able to access and do damage. And so what you want to do is actually remove those plugins. So go to this link here that says manage inactive plugins. And so the only inactive plugin I have is the anti-spam. And so what I can do is delete. And delete is not going to work from here. And the reason being is because the FTP item that I mentioned. So what I'm going to have to do is actually go into the terminal window and do WP CLI, excuse me, not CLI, WP plugin, if I can spell it correctly, delete, and then, actually I need to know the name of the plugin, and that's the file system name, not the name that it shows in the UI, because as you see, the name in the UI is, I'm assuming it's Akismet anti-spam, and it has a space as well as this hyphen, but if you go on the file system, it just has Akismet. So WP plugin, delete, and I'll just type that out, remove the slash, and run it. And so that plugin has now been deleted. And if I do an ls again, you see the folder has now disappeared as well. That confirms that it has been deleted. So if I refresh this particular page and hit all, as you see, now I have no inactive plugins, and I can go back to the site health page, and it may take a moment because it's running some other processes in the background to render the contents of the site health page. All right, here we go. And so as you see, previously it was 6 recommended improvements, now it's 5. Um, so I'm gonna continue down the rest of this list. Have a default theme available. So I only have one theme. Default themes are usually by WordPress. If anything is wrong with your site, I was looking into this. I couldn't figure out how to set that one theme as the default theme. So I don't know if I need to have a second theme that or is added to my site and that be the default theme. If you can answer that for me, please leave a comment down below. I would like, since this is my first time using a WordPress site, I would like to hear from those of you who have more experience with WordPress about this particular item. All right, so the next one is that I'm running an older version of PHP 7.2. The recommended version is 7.3. Well, I checked the Ubuntu repositories using sudo apt-get, and the latest version that is available for Ubuntu is 7.2. So I'm kind of basically stuck with that. There's not really much I can do about that. Recommended modules are missing for PHP, I believe. So one is ImageTick and the other one is the zip. I have neither one of these installed, but if I wanted to in Ubuntu, you can just run, and I'll show you how to do it. So you can do sudo apt-get install, and you'll need the name of your PHP version. So it's 7, for mine it's 7.2. And if you double tap the tab key on your keyboard, you'll get this auto predicting or autocomplete option that shows up. And so it will list everything here. And so as one says imagic or image, I guess that's how you say imagic, and the other one is zip. So as you see, there is a PHP 7.2.zip, and I do not see the other one that it mentioned, and it may have a different name associated with it. But if you wanted to install the libraries that it's talking about here, in particular the PHP libraries, this is how you would do it. And so if I just do 7.2-zip install, it'll do all the things that's necessary for it. However, I don't want to install that, so I'm going to leave it out. Your site does not use HTTPS. That's pretty simple. Get you a HTTPS certificate. I do not believe that I have one installed on here. I'll have to double check, and that way that error will go away. And there was an error trying to check your site to be basically confirming if it can be found by search engines. Obviously, this site is not going to be found by search engines because it is in my development environment. If you're still getting this error in production, then you'll want to follow these steps that are listed here. And then at the bottom down here, there are some additional tests that are already passed, so it's not reporting those as having problems. And so those include the WordPress version being up to date, all of your plugins being up to date, time zone, the PHP time zone specifically, not your server time zone, the database being up to date, and a few other things, scheduled tasks, so like a cron, processing, whatnot, and that is it. So again, this is just showing you the site health. There may be more problems reported. If you have problems with any of these items, it does provide you with a little bit of documentation on how to handle those things. I did look into a couple of the issues that I had with some of the items up here, and it did give me a little bit of insight into those. So I believe the documentation is, pretty sufficient for this particular purpose. So that will wrap it up for this video discussing WordPress site health. If you have any questions about the site health page, feel free to drop a comment down below, or you can hit me up on Instagram and Twitter at almostengr. If this video has given you more insight into the site health on WordPress, please give it a thumbs up, and also be sure to subscribe. And last but not least, you can check out my website. It is theengineer.com, and I'll have information about this as well as other things on there for you to read. So until next time, peace out.